Hi, it's Friday. Hope everyone is doing great today. Today we're going to be chatting about house calls. And I'm excited to talk about this because there's some unique things that come up when you are going into someone else's home. There's a lot more moving parts. And I think just raising the awareness of what those differences are, planning ahead for them. All of those things add layers of thoughtfulness that make your care even farther reaching. So I'm excited to chat with you about those today. And if you have any particular questions as we go along or things that I haven't covered, I would love to hear your thoughts if there are things that you do in your house calls that I hadn't mentioned, because they're pretty unique and pretty dynamic. And I might just start talking a little bit about what can happen before you actually arrive at someone's home, and what some of the benefits are of even offering house calls. We did that poll in the group, and it looked like there are, I know that there are some therapists that exclusively do house calls, but none of them were entered into the poll. But it looks like the majority of people mostly do in-office work with a house call here or there. Some people do a mix, some people don't do house calls at all. The thing is that you might find yourself either pulled into house call work or enticed into house call work if you have a client that you've been working closely with and they would like to see you really early on after birth, which can be such a wonderful thing, but maybe they're not ready to make the trek or leave their baby or any of those logistical pieces. And so if you do find yourself going into someone's home to provide care, I think that there are some things that you'll get out of this conversation. And for those of you who do offer it on a regular basis, I was thinking about just talking through a little bit of the logistical pieces and some of the pre-house call communication that can be really important. And I'm curious if there are things that you either communicate to clients ahead of time or things that you ask about that I haven't thought about, but I'll share with you what we ask. And so, oh yay, Pamela's here. Let's see. One quick second. Hi, Pamela. Can you hear me? There's I see your approval request, and instead of allowing me to approve it, it's asking me to send you a request. So I guess we're playing tag here. Oh, it says it's adding you. Great. Hi.
Hey,
Happy
hello.
Friday.
Thank you. Happy Friday to you. I'm gonna give my brain a little second to breathe.
Do it. I know sometimes those hair ties, they gotta come out.
Sorry to do it while I hopped on, but I was like, whoa, headache. Okay, how's it going?
It's going good. I was just starting to blab a little bit, but my mouth feels so funny, just like right here. My toddler headbutted me so hard in the face. I thought he busted my lip. It doesn't look busted, but it feels numb. So I feel like I'm already talking differently if you see it. That's
I'm
what's
so
going on.
sorry.
Motherhood is not for the faint of heart. And
No.
he did it because he was excited. We were reading the Very Hungry Caterpillar, and he's sitting in my lap. And when we turn the page, and he turns into the beautiful butterfly, he gets so excited, he threw his head back, and I was like, just hit me so hard in the face. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Mother wounds.
I've heard from dentists that that's a thing, that there could
Yeah.
be a trend of mothers getting headbutted so hard by toddlers that sometimes their front teeth will turn gray and the root gets so much damage. So
Wow.
luckily I'm not in that boat, but it's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
How's
And
the
it's hard
rest?
to be mad at them when they're so excited, but at the same time, probably you're having a hard time breathing and there's pain. So,
There was pain. Oh yeah,
hopefully.
I mean he cried because I was like I just got real quiet and I was like, ow.
Yeah.
He was very upset that I wasn't like celebrating the book and that there seemed to be something wrong. They don't know. They have no idea how strong they are either.
Yeah.
So, but the rest of your Friday's been going good.
It's been super busy. Like,
Mm.
I haven't stopped since I left the house this morning at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
We have a Fit for Mom group. They had a big birthday, 8 years that they've been here.
Oh,
So a big celebration. And then I came right in and started body work, and here I am. So
that's
yeah.
great. And this is the
Yeah.
group I think you've mentioned in the one of the talks that we did about networking that was has been a
Yeah.
great networking resource for you in your
So good.
practice.
She's got such a great reach in the community and like different areas, and they get together with their strollers, and they have a pregnant group and a toddler group, and yeah, it's really fun. So
Great.
I was wondering today, I'm like, I wonder if there are other communities that have something like this. So
Yeah, we have the Fit for Mom groups here all over.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're great.
nice.
Agreed. It's so nice. And it's there's a certain level of vulnerability of trying to find your way back into a
Mhm.
workout routine as a mom,
Yeah,
like logistically with children, but then also just like emotionally of like, what is this new body? And it's different than it was before. And it's so nice to be able to kind of traverse that with other moms who really get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I agree.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, nice. So I didn't mean to sidetrack us from the topic at hand, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just starting to blab a little bit. I do feel like the topic of just etiquette can be good, but I thought that it might also be helpful to talk about um, some of the logistical pieces and the communication that can be so helpful before you actually even arrive in someone's home.
Yeah.
And I was going to share what I do, but I'm curious to hear from you or, anyone else in the group if there are other things that they communicate to their clients or ask their clients ahead of time, because it's
Hmm.
very different, right? It's a very different energy when you are not in your treatment room and you don't have full control of the ambiance, and it takes a
Yeah.
lot of flexibility. And sometimes clients just really don't know what we need to do a good job. And so much of that,
Yeah.
is ideally deciphered before you actually arrive at their
For
door.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good for both sides, both parties to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't do out calls these days, except I did last weekend before this birth. It was a doula follow-up visit, and it wasn't a follow-up. It was like me getting together and us going over the birth plan, but I did bring my table and give her
Great.
a massage that day.
Oh,
And she takes me into the bedroom and she's like, "How's this?" And it's like this big, right? And I'm
yeah.
like, "That'll work." But really, it was super tight.
Yeah.
So, it just makes me think, yeah, like explaining I need at least this much room to like make you and I comfortable. Um, yeah, so there's very little out calls in my life these days, except for the occasional before or after a birth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's so, so nice to have
Yeah.
that continuity of care,
Right.
And I
Hmm.
was saying before you got on too that like even sometimes when you're not necessarily planning to offer house calls, if you really bond with a client, like there are times when you might kind of get pulled into a
Yes,
situation like this, and
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it
yeah,
wasn't planned, but she lives far away from, the office, and it was like it just made sense. So,
yeah. That's great.
but I'm
Um,
excited to hear what you're doing, because I know that you're really expanding on this, and it would be, yeah, it's great.
yeah, I don't know, we do maybe like 14 house calls a month, something like that. So it's not a huge part of our practice, but sometimes they're really nice, they're really
Mhm.
helpful. And some of it is just like based on our availability and how far people are too, just because LA is so
Mhm.
spread out. So we do what we can, and they're really nice. But yeah, part of our questionnaire, we try and gather as much information as possible, like including like where am I supposed to park? Are there stairs? Those things,
Yeah.
so that therapists can kind of plan that in. If they're in an apartment building and they have to park over here and take an elevator and do this, like that impacts our timing of how much do we need to prepare to get there. And then we'll do things like we clarify with clients that we will arrive 10 minutes before your start time so that we can start at the time that is on the booking, right?
Yeah.
And if and I think it's okay if you don't do that, but you need to, I think it's good to communicate that, like that time, that's your booking time, is at the arrival time of the therapist, or is that the start time of the session?
Right. And it makes a difference because if you have a therapist who is doing out calls, they may have someplace else to be, right
Yeah.
afterwards. And yeah, and they have to plan for that. It takes time. And that is the other thing that it just, it's important to have that boundary on the time because it can end up being so much longer than you expected it to be if you're feeling generous with chatting and, loving them up. And, that can get really, it can really eat into your session time, or you can end up spending a lot of extra time you're not getting paid for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And again, like if they're not well prepared for you, like what we say in our intake form, yeah, what's the arrival instructions? Are there stairs? Do you have animals in your home, and where will they be? And because some of our therapists have allergies to cats in particular. um, Others don't at all. It makes no difference, but it just kind of helps us know who's going to be the right person to help this client by asking stuff like that up front. We ask, can you make sure that there is an outlet so we can plug in our table warmer?
Yeah.
Can you make sure that the therapist has access to a sink and a bathroom if they need it? Because sometimes the therapists are driving, quite a ways, and it can be really uncomfortable to not be able to empty your bladder before you start a session. So just, we ask that stuff up front to make sure that our therapists are comfortable. And then we usually ask for like a minimum of 6 feet by 10 feet. Is that usually what you ask for clients?
I've never actually asked, but I mean, it makes sense to give them a spatial, a very, I don't know the words I'm looking for,
Like a
a definite,
dimension.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dimension that they can
Yeah.
actually say, is this big enough, right? Because they don't know. They
Yeah.
just eyeball it and they have no real concept of it. Do you also ask who else is going to be in the house by chance? Or
I
any of that?
usually don't, just because I know that that sometimes can change, um, especially with a new baby, and depending on when they book. But I do have some things to say about etiquette, if there are a lot of people in the house, about not just chatting about your client's health history just because someone is welcome in their home at that particular time doesn't mean that their health history and stuff like that is up
Is
for
fair game. Yeah.
discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. Margaret, I saw your question, and we
Oh, I
will.
didn't see it yet.
Yeah, she just asked about, she said she was told not to use a table warmer. What is the protocol for using a table warmer? Yeah.
Yeah, so I use table warmers really at any stage of pregnancy, but I'm a little bit more conservative and will only put it on a low setting in first trimester. And really the science behind this is that if you were to raise the core temperature of your client in first trimester, that there is a slight possibility that it can affect a fetus's development. But what I want to say about that is that raising someone's core temperature by 1 degree, like it's a lot. They would be uncomfortable. They would be hot, right? So if you are having good communication with your clients, um, and they're not uncomfortable, it's highly, highly unlikely that you are going to cause any harm to her developing fetus. And then beyond first trimester, there really are no like major risks other than, they're going to have more peripheral vasodilation. They're going to get hotter faster than other clients. So, but again, like it's nothing that just common sense, I sort of feel like, and good client communication can't navigate. Would you agree with that,
Yeah,
Pam?
yeah, I totally agree. And what it made me think of is, moms, pregnant women get sick and get a fever, and like that's concerning for sure. You don't
Yeah.
want that to happen. Um, infants, small infants get fevers. Like like you don't want that to happen, but you want to avoid raising someone's core temperature, but it's not like we don't have to be overly panic stricken about it, right? Like we're keeping them
No,
comfortable. And I'm
exactly.
noticed keeping them comfortable. And I'm noticing you're wearing a sweater, it looks like, and you're in a climate where it's often maybe cooler, mornings and nights, and it's hot here most of the time. I have pregnant mamas that do not want a table warmer on the table, or they'll look at me and be like, that's not on, right? You know. And
Yeah.
I very rarely, I only use a table warmer here in the winter when it really is cold. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. And it's so strange too, because I still can't see her question pop up. I'm
Oh,
wondering if you're
really? I don't
seeing it.
know.
Yeah.
I saw it come on the screen and then it went away.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just missed it, but you would think that I would still be able to see
Funny
it.
because I can still see it on mine when
So
I tap
strange.
in the.
Yeah. I can't on mine. And I was just going to ask Margaret, was that helpful? Did that answer your question? Did you have any follow-ups? And if you do, maybe Pam, you can tell me what she says because I don't see
Yeah.
it on my side.
I don't know. I saw someone give a thumbs up. So let's see if that was, I don't know. Okay, let's see. I don't know. I see her question. I see that she's watching. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Okay. Well, if Margaret, if you do, just
Oh,
feel free to.
she says, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So
Awesome.
I don't know
Okay,
why you
great.
can't see it.
I don't know why either. I'm like, I don't think there's any other
So at the
view I can
bottom
have
of
on here.
the very, very bottom of my screen, there's a little tiny arrow that's pointing down next to overview. And when I tap on that, it gives me,
I don't have
okay.
I don't have
Right.
anything that says overview. How funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Okay, well, I'm glad you can see the questions. I'm sorry I couldn't mark it, but I'm glad that that was helpful. And if anything else pops up, let us know. So yeah, like we ask our clients, 6 feet by 10 feet, which even that is very tight. It's sort of like
Yeah.
the minimum to just kind of get your body, I think, around the table and to kind of get a leg behind you, ideally, because you want to, body mechanics matter, for
For sure.
the client's enjoyment, for the therapist's safety and longevity, all of that. So, yeah, we ask about dimensions, we ask about an outlet for the table warmer, we ask about, what else did I just say? A place for the therapist to use the restroom and wash their hands.
Mhm. What do you do for music?
We have, well, right now we have something called Mindstream that the therapist can use, but I think we're going to just switch to Spotify because it's just easier. So they have it something downloaded on their phone, and downloading can be helpful too, just so that you're not dependent on the client's Wi-Fi, or even sometimes, like if you even needed to connect to Wi-Fi, that can just be like, ugh, one more extra step, versus if you just have
Right.
a downloaded playlist, it's just ready to go. It can be really thoughtful, so they can just relax.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. The other thing that I talked to my therapist about, when they arrive, let me just see. Oh, I guess this might also be worth talking about, is just safety. Like if you've never
Mhm.
met this person before, which sometimes happens with us. Sometimes people who live too far away from our wellness center will call us and ask for a house call. And we have, inside of our intake form, we ask them to upload their driver's license,
Uh-huh.
so that we can make sure that, like, the person's face and their name and their address that we're going to all matches, and we also verify that it's like a residential address. And we've never had any issues ever, but I do just, those are like small things that you can do, that
Mhm.
if anyone wanted a house call for less than ideal intentions. It's just things that would filter people out.
Yeah, that's great. Do you
Yeah.
also have your therapist share their location so that somebody knows where they are?
Well,
I've heard this suggested for therapists who do out calls on a regular basis, right?
we haven't done that, but we know where they are, because they're only going to the place that the client has told
Mhm.
us, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we know where they are. I definitely go over with them that their safety is the utmost importance, and I would want to reflect that to anybody else who does house calls of like everything that you own can be replaced. Like your phone can be replaced,
Mhm.
your equipment can be replaced. Your safety matters more than anything else. And if there's ever a situation where you don't feel safe, just get out.
Yeah.
Just get out of the situation and everything else can get figured out later.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I so like on the iPhone, you have a share my location,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I don't know, I think it's kind of nice if I think it's a great idea if someone is doing alcohols on a regular for somebody,
That's
a
smart.
close
Yeah.
friend or their employee or somebody, to know where they are. Just because.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. And if you are like a solo practitioner and
Hmm.
nobody knows what you're doing or what your schedule is like, I think that's incredible advice. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Um,
what do you bring? Like they have their table, they have a table warmer. Are they
yeah,
sharing pillows or
we bring the
linens?
full sidelining system
Okay, yeah, I
to
do
all
too.
house calls. Yeah, I mean, we're so used to it. Yeah, so we bring all of that. We bring the music. We bring all of our therapists work with a lotion instead of an oil for house calls, just because the spillage factor goes down by a lot if it's not fully
Yeah.
liquid. So they bring that. I have all my therapists pack museum shoe covers because we have
Uh-huh.
a lot of clients that have shoeless homes, and some of our therapists are fine working barefoot, but others like they really prefer to have that support. So it's sort of like the middle ground of like how we can respect somebody's home and keep it free from shoe debris, but also support the therapist alignment if they feel like they need to work with shoes on.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so we bring
That's
that. We bring sheets. We use like these diaper inserts for milk spillage. Like we just have them on hand. So we have them in the office too. Sometimes we'll put them like underneath the
lotion.
first layer of sheets, and we just reassure our moms like if there's leakage, don't worry, there's extra um, protection there. And what else do we bring? We bring hand sanitizer. We bring um, hand sanitizer. We bring stuff to wipe down our tables and our bolsters before we pack them
Mhm.
up. We have like a separate little laundry bag, so all the dirty sheets go in there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So it's a lot of stuff. I'm wondering, do they bring a cart or something? Like, do they have, because that's it's a lot, it ends up being a lot, right?
it ends up being a lot. We purchased these. They're just massage table bags that have wheels attached to the bottoms of them, and they have like
Mm.
really nice side pockets, so it
Mhm.
actually fits really everything that they need.
Okay.
And then the side-lying system, we have a couple of options. We'll either use just another massage table bag, and they all fit in there, and they
Yeah.
don't weigh much. They're big, but they don't weigh much. You can literally just stick it on top of the
Yeah.
regular massage table bag and roll it in. Or I've for years I've used a shiatsu mat bag, and that has
Okay.
also worked really well. Although the shape of it is really funny. It sort of looks like you're carrying a body around.
Well, I was
It's
gonna
so
say I
long.
put mine recently. I traveled with mine in a chair massage bag,
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
massage chair bag. Yeah.
Yeah. And they all fit in there.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is big and awkward, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that works too. I've had other like students and uh other therapists that I've known who have used like hockey equipment bags who also work really nicely
Yeah.
for all the pillows. So So yeah, I try not to have the clients have to provide anything unless they have, certain things that comfort them, or sometimes, I'll offer like if they want to play their own music, that
Yeah.
sometimes people like to do that in their own space, if that's fine. Um, I have had therapists talk about, well, what if should we put something down so that, you don't drip oil on their floor? And I think that that's a thoughtful idea, but that's part of why I just use lotion, because it's
Mhm.
a lot less likely to
Yeah.
fall or to stain. Um, but I think putting down something on somebody's floor is either going to be at the like very least distracting and crinkly when you step on it, or
Hmm.
at the most a tripping hazard, which
For
we don't
sure.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. You mentioned an insert going under them. Were you thinking about like for a breast? Is that what you?
Yeah, so when we do house calls for postpartum, lots of times I'm
Oh,
still
postpartum. Oh,
using,
gotcha.
yeah, for postpartum. So lots of
Okay.
times we're still using side lying with the extra, yeah, I said diaper inserts. Yeah, they're really just like thick, super
Yeah,
absorbent towels.
I
Yeah, they,
gotcha. I
they
do the
work
same
great.
for postpartum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just do a hand towel underneath the
That,
sheet.
yeah, it
Hmm.
works great. So yeah, we do that. And yeah, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. Um, I think that's really it. Face cradle
Do
if they do want to go face down, but again, like I try not to put definitely not pregnant, no, but in
mhm.
postpartum, I still try and stay inside lying as long as possible. I love the zero pressure on breast tissue.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there's other things I think about being in someone's home that are worth mentioning. I was just gonna peek. I think it's always really nice to acknowledge whoever is there and visiting, and just introduce yourself. And
Mhm.
if they happen to say like, "Oh, I'm, the client's mom," I think it's always really nice to say like, if this happens to be postpartum session, "Oh, congratulations on your grandchild," just
Yeah.
things like that. Like, and very sweet, but I keep it pretty simple other than
Mhm.
other than that.
Yeah.
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 Um, yeah. And it does take a whole lot of flexibility with postpartum sessions, or just house call
Mhm.
sessions in general. I feel like it's worse postpartum because
I know.
just more logistics. Who's going to be with the baby?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
they're way
Is
more
somebody
sleep
going to bring the
deprived
baby?
generally. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, those are things that are good to be mindful of. I also think that how we're entering people's homes and what we're bringing. Like I ask my therapist
Mhm.
not to bring anything except water into somebody's home. Like don't bring food,
Yeah.
don't bring other drinks. Like leave that in
Yeah.
your car.
Right.
Because if something spills, or something smells funny, or somebody's animal gets into something, you know what I mean? There's just things that can happen in other people's homes that if you just have the foresight, you can just avoid it all.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So those kinds of things I think are important. I think it's always fine to say something like a general of like, oh, your home is beautiful, or just like a small compliment, or your garden is lovely, or
Yeah.
um, you know, but I think commenting much beyond that, or what you're seeing in other people's home, can sometimes make other people uncomfortable or be a little bit of
Mhm.
a red flag. And even if you don't mean for it to be received in that way, I think it's something to be mindful of,
Yeah.
to just keep it to like a minimum if you're going to comment on their surroundings.
Yeah. I agree. That's nice. Yeah. And having really clear communication. You have therapists you're thinking about sending, out. So making sure they understand all of that. But I think those are
Yeah.
good guidelines for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. And what else? The things that we teach in class too, of like, it's wonderful to acknowledge a new baby and it's so exciting sometimes for us, but really that we have to keep that spotlight on
On
the
the
mom.
mom, for sure.
She's our
She needs it.
client. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
She needs
she's
it.
if we can get her into a better state, it's only going to benefit that sweet little baby.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much attention put on the baby once they're in the world, and mom often gets neglected. So, yeah, we get to, again, love her up, right? And yeah,
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 so
of
of course, like I always acknowledge the baby and I'm like, oh, they're so
course.
beautiful. But then
Yeah.
I'm like, turn it back to her and I'm like, really well done. Like,
Yeah.
how are you doing? How are you feeling? This is a
Yes.
huge transition for you, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I also, I don't know how you guys, often it seems like mom will just, if you can like, if they can just get into bed, or, I've left help out calls by myself, like walked out the front door without anybody walking me out because she just got right into
Oh,
bed.
for
Or,
sure. Yeah.
right. So don't expect to have somebody show you out, right? Or,
Yeah.
I don't know, just, yeah. Sometimes I just have washed my hands and gone to the bath, done those things and like packed up my stuff and you're out of there.
Yeah.
And
I
to
think,
make it a speedy exit, not to linger, and give them lots of respect and space.
yeah, those are great, great things to mention. Yeah, that um, even when somebody is thrilled to see you, it's it's a time, and I guess I'm particularly talking about postpartum, maybe less so in pregnancy, but even still, pregnancy can be exhausting. They can
Sure.
be so happy to have received you and still like very relieved when to
Yeah.
see you go, and to see anyone go. It's not anything personal. It's just that season of life is so exhausting
Mhm.
that yeah,
Yeah.
just don't linger.
Yeah.
And some people can't linger. They have other things to go do, but even
Right.
if you can, just don't assume that that is like necessarily adding to the client's experience. Sometimes it's
Right.
not.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else.
How about
I
payment? Because that sometimes can be funky too, I think, taking payments on the fly, or on the go. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but we always have everyone's credit card on file.
Hmm.
So, worst case scenario, we can always charge it later.
Yeah.
But usually I have my therapist check them out while they're there. I mean, it's just the logistics of our system works that way where the therapists have access to like the checkout software.
Hmm.
And I would say that that's probably true for most people.
Yeah.
Um, but I do that because I like for the therapist to be able to set up a follow-up appointment if the client wants that, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So that's how we do it. Yeah, and there's usually not a whole lot to it. Yeah, is there anything you wanted to say about that?
No, just that sometimes I've had people like want to pay before, so they don't have to think about it after the session.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we can do that too, totally.
Yeah.
And that can be really nice. Um, yeah, that can be really nice for both parties. And we're just done. You pack up and like you said,
Yeah.
you scoot. I also tell my therapist, like especially if someone hasn't quite given them enough space, or
Mhm.
they're feeling like they might need to make something else work. I always just like them to ask permission before just moving somebody's household items.
Good point. Yes. Yeah.
You just never know. You just never know, like
Right.
what can spark a sensitivity, or if there's a particular story around that pillow or that piece of furniture or the floor or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Good point.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like those are the main things that I wanted to chat about. And wow, yeah, it always goes by so fast. It's the
Yeah.
time, but I was thinking that if anyone is interested, I also have like some other things that we could go over another time about what it's like doing visits to the hospital, doing massage in the hospital, because that's a whole
Um,
nother,
I think that's a great topic. I think
yeah.
that's definitely something we should do.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we'll weave
Yeah.
that into one of the upcoming
Yeah.
calendar days.
It's good because I do think if this is work that you really love and you're going to do for any length of time, eventually you're going to have a mom who is on bed rest and it's
Yep.
either going to, or she's going to be, in the hospital for an extended period of time, and may need you to come see her. So, yeah, I think that's a great topic.
Yeah, and it's a
Mhm.
distinct topic
For
because
sure.
then there's, there's the logistics of the hospital and what are you allowed to bring in and,
Yeah.
checking in with hospital staff and what you might see in a room depending on how serious
Mhm.
her conditions are if she's on 24-hour bed rest or whatever. So, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
navigating that whole thing. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, cool. So we'll put that on the calendar and then if other people have just other things that they want to hear us talk about, let us know. We're happy to tailor it. But yeah, this was a good one for this Friday.
I agree. Yes, I hope you have a great weekend.
You too.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see. I've been kind of MIA on the group, but I will catch up this week. I've been playing catch up, so
Well, a birth will do that to you.
yeah, it was a
Yeah, because
long
I'm
one.
sure yeah, it takes a lot of energy and effort, and then you had to move all your clients, and
Yeah.
again, like that would be great to do a topic on that. Like, what does
Oh,
the
right.
aftermath of being on call look like too?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It takes several days for me to catch up, so that would be a good topic. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got some
Okay,
good stuff.
great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Have a great weekend. Always so lovely to talk to you.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. See you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.